go. Another episode of Canada on the Rocks. I am your host, Patty Kuder, local realtor with Sutton Group Ottawa. And today we have joining us Nadine Aayad. This one is special to me. This lady is from my hometown. She knows some of my family, some of my friends from back home. So it's very special to me to bring you on the show today, Nadine. Really appreciate it. And you're coming in representing Waxon. I want to take you back a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about the business. What is Waxon?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this show. And you are also special to me. So I'm so excited to be here. Waxon is a premium waxing and laser bar. Started about over 12 years ago. And ever since, it's grown to over 20 locations.
Wow. And it's a franchise sort of location idea. Correct.
Well, yeah, it started, first of all, not as a franchise. It started as corporate, one store led into the second, led into the third. And then our founder, Alexi, decided to go the franchise way.
It makes more sense, like when you think about it. It started in Toronto, but you're trying to start to go out and like really improve your footprint. The best way to do it is to bring people on and go the franchise way. How do you feel about having a franchise in the city of Ottawa?
So, first of all, franchise for me was the surest and easiest way to get in on a business. I've always wanted to open a business, but franchising gives you the playbook.
Yeah.
It gives you the structure. It gives you a support system. It gives you, a whole team right there at your fingertips to use whenever you want. Mm-hmm. And then Ottawa is special to me. Ottawa is where I had my firstborn. Ottawa was my introduction to Canada. And I've come to realize how special it is in terms of community and how small it is. It truly is a village.
It's one of the really coolest communities in Canada because of the fact that you still have that sort of big city mentality, but in the same token, small kind of town mentality where everybody's like coming together. In Ottawa, it's very weird when you're looking at the 60 degrees of separation. Ottawa is probably like a 3-degree separation. If you're lucky. A lot of times, like 2 degrees of separation. Oh, so-and-so? Oh, yeah. Okay. And then like next thing you know, they know 7 people that you know and 8 people that you know, and it just kind of keeps going from there. But I want to dig a little bit more on that franchise sort of mentality. I find it a little bit different because we're doing a lot of commercial sales and commercial real estate. I find commercial, correct me if I'm wrong with this assumption, when it comes to franchise, it's really more of allowing someone to kind of step into a business mentality, a business mindset, similar to as if they were in an employment, you know what I mean? Because it gives you sort of everything ready to go.
Yes. So this is what I've come to realize with franchising. So I've got my own store. So I am the owner, but I'm also yet part of a corporation. So you've got the best of both
worlds. Yeah.
So you have, we've got weekly meetings, we've got monthly meetings, we've got conventions, we've got, summits. There's always somebody I need to check in with, but yet I am my own boss. This is my store, this is my location, my baby. So you get both.
And this conversation comes out quite often when we're looking at purchasing a business, and most people are like, well, I just really don't know what to do and how to do it. And this kind of gives you that easy into the business without necessarily having to really, with guardrails, if you will. It's like if you're trying to go bowling with guardrails on the side, like you're still learning, you're still bowling, you're still going to hit, hopefully strike at some point, but with the fact that there's support.
Yes, I like that analogy, the guardrails, exactly, because you have a team. So you need help with HR, you've got it. You need help with marketing, you've got it. You need help with finance, you've got it. Even templates, hiring, firing, interviews. From the beginning, they give you the play-by-play to start your own business within their parameters, of course.
Fantastic. And how, I want to talk a little bit more about your background as well, too. You're Palestinian, coming here, living in Canada. How long have you been in Canada?
I've only been here full-time 3 years. So to take you back, I was born in Saudi. I lived there till I was about 15, 16, later went to the U.S., got my degree. During my university years, I met my husband. He was born and raised in Dubai. So I graduated in May. I got married in June and went and lived in Dubai.
The Palestinian way. Really quick.
Go.
At least you got the pick.
Yeah. Lived in Dubai while living in Dubai, we briefly moved to Switzerland, came back. But Canada was always, my family lived here. So we knew that eventually we will be moving here.
Yeah.
And my husband and I had always said once our daughter, which is our youngest, goes to university, this is when we're going to make the move, because we didn't want to be 70 years old making that move. We still wanted to be young enough to come to a place, build roots, open a business, build a community where we're still young enough to have that energy.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. When our son was already at university, when our daughter went for her first year, we decided to make that.
Fantastic. And how do you feel like you're, being around the world, traveling around all that, how do you feel that helped with your business acumen?
So when you travel, I always say, if you want to have an open mind, you need to travel. And if you can't travel, read a book, because it's essentially traveling while you're sitting in place, because your mind just opens up to so many different cultures and ideas and ways of thinking. You're not boxed into what you have been taught to culturally, society, or whatever. And Dubai is a place where everybody is from everywhere else. There's some locals from the UAE, but everyone else is an
10% locals and 9%.
Yeah, it was like, yes, at the time we were there, it was like only 80-20. So everybody's from someplace else.
Yeah.
And you get to see different cultures. You just get to see different ideas. So you get to know people more. And what I've realized, how I've brought this back into my business, when I get to speak to clients are from everywhere, different mentalities, but you kind of mesh with them somehow because you've had an experience with something. If a client comes in and says, oh, I'm going to Europe, I was like, okay, there's a conversation that we start. Oh, I came from India. Well, okay, there's a conversation we can start. So it just meshes people together.
Yeah, it really kind of allows you to build bridges and connections, if you will. And then I think having that sort of background, diverse background, being Dubai and all of that, it gives you that sense of you've seen it all in a way.
Yeah.
Give or take. Now, let's dig into the business itself. You've sat business. When did you start Waxon here in Ottawa?
So, true story. When we dropped our daughter off at university, we came back. I always knew that I was going to open a business. It wasn't an if, it was always a when.
Is it?
And I never knew when it was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. But, with my husband traveling all the time with work in the beginning, and then the kids were young, and then we moved, and then with moving, you're uprooting a family, and that takes time. So there wasn't the right time to do something. It wasn't until we dropped off our daughter off to university, and my husband and I officially became empty nesters. And that's when we had bought our home here in Manatik, and we were still, furnishing it. And I just remember sitting down at my kitchen counter, and I'm thinking, okay, now what? Now is my turn. When am I going to do it? Now I'm ready. Bring it on. Whatever it is, bring it on. And that's in 2021. And that's when I was, scrolling through Instagram, and Waxon had put a post out there saying, if you love our brand, if you've always wanted to own your own business and you want structure, then contact us. And that's what I did. It was in October 2021. I did that first call with them. And as they say, the rest is history.
Well, always. And one thing that I've learned over the years, and, you can never stand in the way of a Palestinian woman trying to build something, regardless of what it is. She'll squat you down. Get out of my way. I'm going to do it. Now, with that being said, you guys chose a special location for Waxon. Tell me a little bit more why you chose that location and where is it, first of all?
Yeah, so Waxon is in Lansdowne. So it took a while to find the spot. One of the reasons it took a long time is because I had just moved to Ottawa. So I didn't understand what Glebe is, what Westboro is, what, Canada is. I didn't know anything. I just knew I was going to open a business, and I said, the rest will come. We'll figure it out.
And especially when it's a business like this, that you need the traffic and all of that stuff, location is absolutely a life maker or breaker
Yes.
in this situation, right? It's very paramount. One of the things that you've done, which I really want to kind of dig into it, how did you choose that location? Tell people about how you chose it, why you chose it.
So we looked around. I would go, every day to the Glebe, and then I would go to Westboro, and I'd see the traffic and I'd see the vibe. And of course, as a franchise, there are parameters that we need to go by. We have to tick a few boxes. So I did
The guardrails.
Love it. But it's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it tells you, okay, well, this place is lovely, but it doesn't have X, Y, and Z, so I'm not going to go with it. So I decided, okay, I want the Glebe. And then I just went into Lansdowne. I was like, you know what? I love this area. This area is lovely. It's clean. It's pristine. It's well manicured. And then I started thinking, as a franchise, as the first location in Ottawa, nobody knows the name Waxon.
Now, for everybody that's watching, I want to kind of really highlight what you just said, first location, which tells me you're planning on a bunch more.
Absolutely, yes. That's the aim.
This is what I mean by you can never stand in the way of a Palestinian woman. Tell me a little bit more about the, getting that place prepped and opened up and all of that. What is that like?
Yeah, that is probably one of the hardest. When you open a business, that's one of your first challenges. So the first challenge was finding the location. After a few months, I found it. I said, okay, this is perfect because the traffic that comes through Lansdowne is what I need for the brand recognition.
You've used the realtor as well,
Yeah.
All incorrectly, because it is definitely one of the makers or breakers, finding someone that knows what the hell they're doing.
Exactly. And this, again, because it's off the guardrails, we went with the realtor that the franchise chose. So again, I've put all my trust in the franchise, in Waxon, because that's who they trust. So I'm going to trust them. But they also give a lot for me to decide. It's not just like we're going with this location, whether you like it or not. Mm-hmm. They put a lot on me to see, I need to like it. I need to go. I need to approve it. And that's what I did. I loved the place because think of it, Lansdowne, you've got the games. You've got the Christmas market. You've got the flea market. You've got the Sunday market.
It's busy like 24/7.
So, yeah. So people, just brand recognition. Usually with a franchise, you like to be street front. This isn't, it's kind of street front in Lansdowne, but it's not on Bank Street.
Yeah. You're definitely getting a ton of traffic, a ton of eyeballs. And then this is one of the biggest things that I always say, like eyeballs is really what decides on your business. It's one thing to go out and do a marketing, and like spend a heavy amount of money on marketing. And you do a ton of marketing, by the way, which I love. There's no such thing as a business with no marketing. You can't be a free or a secret agent. You really need to be out there letting people know. But the biggest thing for any business, the location, it's allowing that sort of eyeballs to see it, as many eyeballs as possible. That's freebie.
Yeah.
But when we say freebie, it's not really free because you're paying for it in the location.
Yeah, you're paying for...
In the rent.
In the rent, for sure. But that's what you need for a first location until people know the Waxon name. In Toronto, you say Waxon, everybody knows Waxon. But in Ottawa, wax off. There's that. Oh, funny because I wanted to put my license plate as Waxon, but it was taken. And I think it was by the Waxon.
Another Waxon, Ontario for sure. So it would be another Waxon individual.
Yeah.
Stole it away from you.
Yeah, but not from the franchise, from the waxing the car one.
Oh, could be.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So then we start with the construction phase. Little do I know with construction, every day is a surprise,
Always. If I had a penny for every sort of flip project or a business that we're trying to put in, outfitting, anything like that, if I had a penny for every time someone says, oh, there's a surprise, and it's not a good surprise, most of the time, I'll be rich.
Yeah.
Not by just being real estate, but like actually just the information, the things that they say, oh, it's great. But then all of a sudden you're like 20,000 over budget, 50,000 over budget.
Yeah. And that's the hardest part. And then you're in the thick of it. So there's no turning back then. So you just go with it and you hope for the best. And once, once it's complete, it's so rewarding. It's so beautiful, and you see it come to life.
It's a gorgeous space. I have never been, with all honesty, but I've seen a ton of your videos and Nicole's videos, and they're just gorgeous. The place is gorgeous. You guys have done a fantastic job at setting it up.
Yeah.
And it's very welcoming and modern. It's nice and clean and lots of light coming in.
I love you say that, because that is exactly what we're trying to exude here. We're a clean space. We're happy. And people that come in, I want them to feel the warmth. Mm-hmm. My location is the only location that has brick walls. So when I saw this location, I decided I want to keep this brick wall. I don't want to get rid of it, because Waxon colors it's gray, white, and yellow. It's clean, it's pristine, and that's what it is. But I felt that the brick wall added warmth. And my location is also the only location that has a mezzanine too, kind of a loft. So it's a special location even within the other Waxon location.
We're going to have to replicate it for you.
Yes.
So with that being said, tell us about the first, couple of months into the business. What is that like for folks that are watching? Building business in Ottawa can be tough. It's one of the toughest things anyone can take, because we know, if you look at 100 businesses, when they start, and the reason why I'm using 100, because, the percentage of businesses falling off, it's almost 90% within the first couple of years that are just like getting out of the business. But you guys have done it. You've done a fantastic job at the marketing and all of that.
Yeah.
So take us through the first couple of months until you started seeing that traffic.
Yeah. So you start before opening. We've built with our Google ads. We've kind of built teasers all out there. I tried to get in with the networking events even before opening, just to build some hype locally.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So just in the beginning, just to get that name out. My car, I've got it, the Waxon car, just so that when I'm on the road, people can actually see the name. So whatever I could do, I did. So in the beginning, we've got the franchise, the headquarters support the first week, which is so helpful because you need it when your doors are open. There's so many moving parts I didn't expect in terms of operational. We got that. We had some heavy marketing as well. We did some heavy promotions to get people in.
Yeah.
And then if I tell you I didn't sleep, I really didn't sleep. There was pretty much no sleep.
Very much normal for a lot of businesses. Your first 2 to 3 years is really just the building phase. You're taking time. Everything you're doing is almost, in a way, putting it back in the business, believe it or not. It's funny. This reminds me of a story. Is like this grandma, one of our friends, her grandma's like 90 something. And then she's doing, they do that little Christmas shop every now and then. And basically they're selling knickknacks or things like that. It's just things to get by. And then grandma decided this year to do some, shortbread cookies and stuff like that. And grandma made out a killing, like a couple $100 on one day. We're just joking around, asking her, "Hey, grandma, what are you doing with the money? You gotta go to She's like, no, I'm going to put it back in the business." But that's the thing. For the first couple of years, it's really all about making sure that the business is getting you what you need. Yeah. A lot of times you need to put the money back to get yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read a quote once that said the first 3 years of a business is not when you get rich, it's where you get good. Mm-hmm. And I'm learning. This has been one of the most profound years of my life. The amount of growth that I've had to do and the amount of times I've had to step outside of my comfort zone.
This is where the growth happens.
This is where the growth happens. If you told me 6 months ago that I'm going to come on your podcast, I would say, you're absolutely crazy.
I did. And you said no.
Yeah. Well, it's like, no way. So I'm constantly putting myself out of, I'm getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
100%.
That's what I say.
And that's the thing, even muscles, you go to the gym, your muscles don't grow unless you're exerting some sort of uncomfortable exercise.
Yeah.
Same thing goes, your brain is not going to grow unless you're really grinding it with some new thinking, expanding that. And the same for business. You cannot grow that business unless you as a business owner are extremely uncomfortable. And the more you're uncomfortable, the more the business grows.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of uncomfort there.
100%. And then the funniest thing is you're uncomfortable for 2 or 3 or 4 years in a row and you're just so used to it. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, things are coming back. I can see all of a sudden things are just going to happening for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see it already that, I see the vision. I see what's going to happen. It's just putting the time. And I always say that I've linked or compared opening a business a lot like having a newborn. You need to give it all the time, the love, the care.
It's your baby.
It is. And this is my third baby. I say it all the time. This is my third baby.
Yeah, that's the same for me. My business was my third baby.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's dig into the vision. You mentioned the vision. What's the vision looking like for you, Waxon, here in Ottawa? What does that look like in the next 5 years?
So another location is definitely viable. I mean, okay, we're still in the first year of building this location and we're building the brand. But as you see, I'm doing so much work with marketing, with branding, with, getting the name out there. And it makes business sense for me to have a second location.
I think with the size of Ottawa and the traffic that we've been seeing in the last, I don't know if you noticed, but the last 6 months of traffic on the highway is just horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot get from point A to point B in the city without adding or tacking on another 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes.
With that being said, I think this is just my opinion on this.
Yeah.
You probably are due for 4 other locations.
Yeah.
Just based on what I've seen, the growth, the amount of population that's coming to the city, the amount of immigrants that are coming into the city, that the amount of people relocating into Ottawa is just unreal in the past little bit. And real estate is always the biggest indicator of how growth is. We're already suspecting probably a 6 or 7% increase for next year. So you could 6 to 7% increase as far as pricing, which tells you there's at least a massive amount of demand that's coming there, and that's both on the residential and the commercial side.
Yeah.
So almost every hub you go to in the city is a town of its own.
Yeah.
So we go back almost 20 years ago, the city decided to amalgamate and put all those different towns together as a one big city. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling in about 10 years, maybe 5, it's going to go back to being separate cities.
Really? Okay, because everybody's having their own.
The sheer volume that we have in the city, like Barhaven by itself, you can literally live your entire life without leaving Barhaven if you want. Yeah. There's so much going in there. Canada, very similar. I have people that I, interact with regularly in Canada that don't ever leave Canada, hardly ever leave Canada. Why? Because it's everything is there. What do I need to leave it for? Oh, maybe I'll go to the Ministry of Transportation one day to get my license or something like that. But that's a trip into the city.
Yeah.
It's going to become we're getting to the point where it's becoming more and more like Toronto, the GTA, with the crowdedness.
Yeah.
Which is good for business.
Yeah.
But it's also not great if you're driving all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we're still not where the traffic of Toronto is, but when people say here, it's traffic, it's an extra 10 to 15 minutes.
Correct.
As opposed to Toronto, it's an extra hour. But it is on that track, which is great for business. So that is my vision, is to have another location, to grow it, to grow the name.
I want to kind of wrap it up for people out there. Thank you so much for watching. Waxon is right now, it's in Lansdowne. It's not going to be the only location, as you've heard. We're probably going to have a few coming. And if I have anything to do with it, probably be more, but we'll see. Really appreciate you guys listening. If you like what you see, please don't forget to subscribe for this fantastic show that we have, bringing businesses. And if you have any businesses that you think of in the city, don't just let them know. Or maybe, put it in the comments so we can interview them, bring them on the show, bring their ideas to life. And folks that enjoy this, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you can get more alerts. And thanks again. Canada on the Rocks. Patty Kuder here. Thank you again, Nadine. Really appreciate it.
Likewise, I really appreciate it too.
Perfect.